But jumping from that to absolute certainty about God's plan is not the answer, not all by itself. Because all by itself, that conviction ignores human suffering. It turns into a kind of religious romanticism that sees only what it wants to see and discounts the rest of human experience. Mortal pain and doubt have no place in this scheme except as failures of faith. All that counts is the coming victory. Everything else is illusion. Can you imagine someone leaning down over the edge of the pit while the brothers are busy bargaining with the slave traders and yelling, "Don't worry, Joseph, everything will turn out just fine"? All by itself, the reality of the stories of the children of Imago Dei Middle School, where I serve as chaplain, would be easy to characterize as tragic. All by itself, the reality of all the odds that are against them would make it easy to regard them only as victims. Indeed, our children know personally far too much about physical violence, hateful words, oppression, and the denial of the dignity and respect that is the birthright of every child of God. At Imago Dei, our scholars discover and come to believe that they are more, that they are the powerful, self-determining subjects of their lives, brave, brilliant, and beautiful members of God's family, not casualties of the world's injustice. We walk with them as they learn to listen to and interpret the whole of their lives, suffering and success, to understand they are safe, loved, and chosen by God for great things. Your extraordinary generosity helps make this possible. And we are deeply grateful for and blessed by you. Your gracious gifting of school supplies is foundational to equipping our scholars for the work that is before them, and goes such a long way in creating the sense of respect and security that are vital to our mission. Today, I also invite you to take advantage of the Arizona State Tax Credit Program by directing your tax credit dollars to Imago Dei through the Arizona Episcopal Schools Foundation. It will be the best investment you will ever make. Disregarding that tension in Brueggemann's equation of realities would be a miserable denial of God. The God who does not live way up somewhere above us, pulling the strings and calling the shots, but the God who lives right here in the midst of us, giving us our freedom and holding the divine breath while we make our choices. Sometimes they are very good and sometimes they are very bad. Either way, God does not leave. God is committed to us and to working through us, which is what divine providence is all about. contrary to what most of us have been taught, it is not about God's will overriding our own. It is more like a dance, that totally mysterious dance that takes place between God's freedom and our freedom, between God's dream and our own. In this dance, it is not God's job to keep bad things from happening. They do happen. Brothers turn against brothers. People are bought and sold. Famine devastates the land. God's job is not to prevent these things from happening. God's job is to stay present in them and to keep on being God, creating whole worlds out of total chaos, breathing life into piles of dust, taking the unfathomable wreckage of our lives and making something glorious out of them in spite of us, because that is who God is. Sometimes it is obvious, and sometimes it is not. Sometimes the work of God's hand is so evident that you can see it a mile away, and sometimes you have to dust for fingerprints. Sometimes the voice seems to come straight from heaven, and sometimes it comes through the voices of strangers and friends. When Joseph wanted to hear God, he listened to his life, all of it. And what he learned, he told his brothers before he died. God will visit you, he told them. And he was right. Amen.